Hello, amazing people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Rising Again podcast. And yeah, it's a chilly morning, so you don't worry. It's not like my voice is not too loud because I just have to regulate it anyway. So I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. I hope you guys are well. And there's something I wanted to talk about. But first of all, before I talk about this, I just want to encourage us young people. Like, make strive to build a relationship with God, because this life, there are things there are seasons you get to in life where if you don't have a good relationship with God, your life will feel like you are losing it out. Or yeah, so it's like life is too tough on you. But when you get the supernatural or the spiritual or the divine help from God, you find that no matter what challenges you're facing, your life will always, in a way, you'll always find that God is coming through for you. God is giving you a support system that no amount of human resource could give you. So I just encourage young people that strive to have a relationship with God. It's not like this relationship where you have to just advertise it. It can be personal, like you have this personal relationship with God where you talk to Him in your like personal capacity, and yeah, God will help you. Like your life will be transformed in a very big way. And I can tell you, like, from my life, I've shared my story a couple of times on this podcast. And I can honestly say that there's so much transformation, there's so much positive transformation in fixing your life or trying to make God the center and of everything in your life, like giving God the first priority. Okay, so anyway, so today I wanted to talk about something that is so, I don't know, it's so personal or intimate to everyone. Yeah, so like, okay, yesterday I was at some place. I went to buy water. So, and I met this girl. We are friends, and I won't mention her name. So it's like, okay, so we're having a conversation. Sometimes when I just walk randomly in the streets, I try to get insights on live dating, so that I want to learn from other people. Okay, so I met her, and okay, I don't know if this was divine. So we were just talking about relationships, then like a shift, then I think I was talking about insecurities and personality type. Like every young person should strive to know their personality type. We have fearful, we have fearful avoidant, we have anxious, and we have healthy. Now these are the people who have worked on themselves. So I was talking about an aspect of insecurities on how they affect us, or how when you date someone who is too insecure, you will never have a healthy relationship with them. Okay, so then she kind of has a story which I won't share on this podcast because of her privacy, and I respect her dignity. But anyway, so the podcast today is just basically to help us, like to help young people understand on, like, understand themselves first of all, and then to fall in love with their skin. Okay, so she shared her story, which is literally, yeah, like I literally felt it. Like it was very emotional to me. And I remember this time we were laughing at some point, and my face literally just turned, and I was like, damn, like I literally felt it. Yeah, so, and I understand that most of the young people have gone through a lot of stuff. Like, most of us have been bullied, you've been body shamed, because maybe some people just, there's an aspect I talk about. Okay, I won't tell you where I'm talking about this, but okay, so I talk about haters, or the naysayers, or the bullies. You have to understand, first of all, these are people who are too insecure in their own skin. So the only way they can feel good is by trying to make you feel unsafe, or make you feel like you're not good enough. And okay, after you've worked so much on self improvement, you find a way that you'll dismiss these critics or the bullies. You'll just find a way. You don't give them the power to choose how you react. Yeah, so basically that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I remember this time when I was in high school. Okay, not even high school, my childhood life. Yeah, I was this short, I was emaciated. So I had these uncles, and I'll just talk it through. So, and I have this half brother whom I really love. Yeah, we don't hate each other, and we wish each other well. There's a time we didn't have a good relationship, but God has been grateful, and like everything is just going on better because we are now adults. We can't hate each other anyway. So, okay, so I had this half brother, and he was of a different body size, which is kinda better compared to mine, like at that time when I was young. So I remember when we would go to a place with my uncles, and okay, so we have an age gap of 2 months, so he's 2 months older than I am. Then, like, okay, so we would meet people, and my uncles would say, like, they would tell these people, the strangers, like, imagine this kid and these ones are age mates. Then the people would look at me, like they would look at my step brother and I in disbelief. They were like, okay, there's something that we don't understand here. If these people are age mates, why is this guy so short, like, yet his brother is healthy, he's emaciated, yet his brother is doing well? So I was like, I literally hated myself for that. So, okay, then it goes on, it goes on, it goes on. There's a time I went to repeat class 8, which I didn't literally finish. I didn't just love caning in school. So I was like, I told my dad, I told my dad, like, or my father, yeah, I told my father, like, Dad, I just can't do this anymore. Take me to a different school. Okay, so I remember when I was going to do my class 8 afresh, I meet these classmates. Okay, so I was this short person. I was still emaciated at that time because my childhood was just a whole mess. And I will share my story at some point about my childhood, and you'll get the privilege to read everything about my life at the right point. So, yeah, so okay, my childhood was tough, and it was so unfair for someone to compare me to someone who had a better life than mine. Okay, so then I get to this high primary school. Then, okay, they didn't know I was going to repeat, and so people look at me and they were like, this guy is too young to be a class 8 pupil. Then I'm like, okay, you guys don't know, I have come to rewind class 8. I was done with class 8 last year, but I just didn't get the marks I expected to get because I wanted to go to a national school, and then I didn't get a good grade for a national school, and I could only go to an extra county school. Then I was like, I didn't want this. So I remember one of the guys called me a dwarf, and he literally laughed on my face. So this thing literally broke me down. I was like, okay, you would have called me a dwarf, but you didn't have to do this in my face. Because I was literally used to people calling me dwarf when I was in primary, especially when I was still in class 7, I was still in class 6, I was still in class 5 and 4. Yeah, it was just a thing, like, body shaming was something that I was literally subjected to. Okay, so then it comes to high school, and this is where it got so chronic. Okay, so I get to high school, I'm still this short and emaciated person. Then, okay, at some point, okay, the dwarf factor was still there, but now it also escalated. People would make fun of my face. At that time, I don't know what was wrong with my face. I was so emaciated. I didn't have skin on my face. Like, right now, you can see my skin is very good. At that time, I just don't know. I can't say it better. I don't know why they used to describe me that way, but yeah. So they would call me a monkey, and I was like, okay, now I've come from being a dwarf to getting to be a monkey. Okay, so, and there's literally something like this developed my identity about myself. It was like this was my self identity. It harmed my self esteem. I didn't have any confidence. I couldn't even approach or talk to people in a large crowd. I can't believe that I'm the one nowadays who can stand before a camera and speak. I used to hate photos. Yeah, like, okay, so when I got to a mirror, like, for example, I'm going to comb my hair or do something at that time, when before I started the healing journey, I could see the monkey they used to describe. I could see them, like, you see, when people talk, there's an aspect about your subconscious mind. When your environment dictates who you are so much, it kind of gets into your subconscious mind, and that becomes your ideal definition. So, for example, if you've been body shamed in a way, people were like making, they were mocking you about your appearance. So it gives you some sense of insecurities. You're like, I just don't love myself. I don't know. You take up their definition of who they are. You are, instead of trying to define your own life. Okay, so, and there, it's so unfair because there are things you can't control about how you look. For example, your face. There are things you can control. For example, if you're overweight, maybe you need to check your diet. You need to go to the gym. You need to start doing morning runs. But no one should body shame you because of how you look. I know being an overweight is not healthy, and I want to also massage your ego here. If you are overweight, you can control that. But okay, no one should body shame you for how you look. But there are things you can control, and there are things you can't control. For example, how you look. For example, I know these are as a common thing for girls or ladies. Some men are so pervasive in a way, like, okay, they look at your allowances. I don't want to call them the typical name they are called. They look at your allowances or sitting allowances, and then they compare you to someone else, and they're like, you don't have anything. CG, you don't look like. There's always an aspect of body shaming that most people have suffered at some point in your life. And if you don't take time to really choose how you define yourself, then you fall back to the default. And the default is that you take up the definition of, like, you take up what other people say about you. So, which is literally wrong, because you'll never love yourself. I remember I could never approach a girl because, okay, I was a monkey and I was dwarf. So, why do dwarf monkeys have to approach ladies? Like, no lady would want to to be seduced by a dwarf monkey. Yeah, so that's what I would think. Then I was just like, I was just out work. Like, this was literally too much on me. I didn't know what to do. Then, yeah, the healing journey begins. But before I got there, it was literally, I didn't have any self esteem. I literally hated myself. I didn't like I was so insecure. I remember when I would see these light skinned dudes and they are tall, I wished I was like them. I was like, oh, if God really made me tall and light skinned, maybe I could attract girls. And I was like, oh God, what do I do? I can't change how I look. This is just how I look. And honestly, I look good. It's only that people used to tell me so much. I don't know if they hated me. I don't know if they just wanted me to feel bad about myself. Yeah, but the whole point is, I just literally hated myself. I couldn't look at myself in a mirror. I hated photos. Yeah, like, okay, so what do I do? Then, okay, I discovered self improvement, and I was like, okay, I want to give you now the insights. I don't know what aspect of body shaming you've been subjected to in your life, and this is so critical. And if you've gotten to this point where you maybe self harm, you've literally been broken down, I honestly would advise you to seek out for counseling services. If your parents are able, you seek out counseling or therapy. You go and find a therapist and talk to them. But first of all, you should be ready to change your identity, because it will only change when you put in the work. So, okay, I want to talk about aspects of self improvement that can help you heal from the trauma you've been subjected to from people who've body shamed you in a while. Okay, so first of all, it's identity change. Okay, you have this perception about yourself that people have subjected you to, or it's just a label that people have given you. For example, maybe you're not this big, they call you dwarf. Maybe they think you, by that, everyone is attractive. And the moment you heal, by the way, you'll find that every girl is beautiful. You see these men that tell you, oh, you're not beautiful. These men, you should just assume them anyway. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, my apologies about that. Okay, so everyone is attractive, every guy is handsome. You just have to change your definition about yourself, and if it's something you can fix about maybe your looks, you can do it and you'll become more attractive. When you start investing in yourself, like it's self love, you'll find that you also, like your perception will define how you look. By that, you can literally change your appearance by just changing your perception, and that is what I'm talking about. Self identity. How do you perceive yourself? Do you still hold these perceptions that people have tied to you, or are you working on? Like, do you consider yourself handsome? Okay, so now I want to give you the insights or the things you can use to change, to love yourself, or to fall in love with your skin, or to fall in love with who you are. So first of all, I could just urge you to do trauma journaling. I've done trauma journaling for a whole big time. I have more than 20 books of journals. Like, I've just journaled about my life. I've journaled about my pain before, when I was getting into self improvement. I journaled about my pain. I journaled about my trauma. I journaled about my body shaming, the bully I went through. And it takes time before you become like better. So don't quit just because you did it for the first time and it didn't work. It will take some time, but just practice it. Even if you can just write, don't try to write a whole page. You can write 4 lines, you can write a paragraph, you can write 2 paragraphs. Just try to do it, like, and it should be at a point where it's so intimate to you. Just be genuine, write anything that comes into your head. Then yeah, number 2 is about affirmations. People tell you that affirmations don't work. They've helped me change my perception about myself. Yeah, so affirmations also work. Look for affirmations, stand in the mirror. There's a point they said, I was listening to some podcast on YouTube. At that time I was still struggling with self identity, self esteem, self confidence. Okay, so they said there's a way it's therapeutic. For example, if you don't love your skin, or you're too insecure in your own skin, you can stand in front of a mirror naked. Okay, it shouldn't be in a place where there are a lot of people. Then you look at yourself as you do these affirmations. It helps you fall in love with your skin or your imperfections, because no one is perfect. At the end of the day, no one is perfect. Those people that you desire would want to become, they're also struggling. They also have self-esteem issues. So just love to appreciate who you are and accept your limitations, or acknowledge your limitations, but fall in love with who you are. Okay, I've told you about affirmations. Number 3, buy self-improvement books and read them. For example, if it's about bullies, it's about body shaming, look for books that relate to your story and read them. Okay, for example, I'm reading this book currently. You can just go and look for this book. It's a book by David Goggins. It's called Can't Hurt Me. So, okay, I finished A Man's Search for Meaning. The book is also very good. Look for this book. He talks about his story in a very unfiltered way. It's like raw. Look for this story if you're struggling with trauma, if you're struggling with self-esteem, if you're struggling with self-identity. Look for this book, please. Go to the streets, or if you can buy it on Amazon, you have the money. Look for this book. I would advise everyone to buy this book. If you're struggling, for example, with that thing I'm talking about, insecurities about yourself. Okay, so I'm reading that book. Look for self-improvement books and read them. Then number 3, I talked about 1, 2, 3, so it's 4. Number 4, you have to eliminate all these external negative forces. For example, it's very hard to work on yourself when you're always constantly subjecting yourself to people who have been body shaming you. For example, if you are dating and you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend who doesn't appreciate you for who you are, they are constantly comparing you to other people. They are like, why don't you just look like this one? Or they say they don't like a part of your body, just cut them off. You have to choose yourself at the end of the day. You'd rather love yourself and be alone than be in a relationship where you're being subjected to unfair circumstances. Yeah, so love yourself so much that you can walk out of a very toxic relationship. And I would always tell young people, heartbreaks will always exist at the end of the day. Young people, I don't know who sells you this lie that to be happy you have to be in a relationship, especially for this season of your life. Invest in yourself. Try to identify who you are. Try to fix your spiritual life. Like, try to connect to your divine supernatural. Try to connect yourself to God and try to find out your purpose in life. Try to picture that life you want in future and see what you're capable of. Instead of just getting into all these intermingles, you just want to, the ice or the caking, you just want to satisfy your dopamine thrills. Please focus on the meaningful rather than expedient things. So be confident enough to cut off these people, even if they are friends that make you feel so bad about yourself. Cut them off, and you can survive. You have God, you have the genuine friends, you have your family if your family treats you well. Yeah, so eliminate all these external or negative forces that tend to make you feel bad about who you are, and with time you'll be fine. And you find that after healing, you will start seeing yourself in a different way, and regardless of whether people judge you, they tell you you're this. I remember there's a time I went to a place and this guy was like, okay, you're short. Then I told him, of course I know I'm short, so is that an issue to you? Then I said, I love the person I am, and if that's an issue to you, you should literally have your own peace because I'm peaceful, so it shouldn't bother you. Yeah, it takes a lot of work before you come to accept yourself, but dig into it. Self-improvement is very important. Let no one deceive you. Self-improvement will help you, young people. It will help you with your spiritual life, your relationships, your own love life, your own relationship to yourself, how you interact with other people. Focus on becoming a better version of yourself. And okay, now I talked about the things you can't control and the things you can control. If people are body shaming you for the things you can control, for example, it's an aspect about your weight. Okay, do something that you can change. For example, maybe your skin is too dehydrated. Take water frequently. If it's an aspect of being an overweight, maybe you don't love your body because maybe people call you fat. Okay, you can go to the gym, change your diet. You should also maybe try and eat 2 meals a day, reduce the carbs intake, reduce the junk you eat. Yeah, there's an aspect of what you can control. Yeah, so do the positive things that will also improve your appearance, so that you know when you start doing good things and you look at yourself and it changes your perception, then you'll kind of feel comfortable being yourself rather than trying to be someone else. So if it's something you can change, please do the positive actions that will help you become a better or an attractive person. Not to the people, because at the end of the day, people that body shamed you don't deserve to be around you just because you've become attractive or better. There are things you can't control, so the only way you can become better is by making peace or acknowledging that I'm just this and I love myself. But for the things you can change, please take the positive actions that will help you become better. And do not engage in a quick fix. Look for the long-term solution, not the short-term solution, sorry. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have questions. I don't know if anyone wants to share their story. For example, I'm thinking of someone who has gone through trauma, and I want them to share their story in my podcast. So if you think you can share your story, you are comfortable enough, maybe you want to share your side of self-improvement and spirituality, how God has helped you, kindly comment on the link section. Drop your comment on the comment section. Then maybe we can do a Google Meet, we can do a video conferencing, and we can just talk about your story. Then I'll get to share that with other people. So young people, take care. Be proud of who you are. Love yourself so much that you can walk out of a toxic relationship. Then remember that a life without God is a meaningless life. So fix your life, love God, hydrate, and I'm watching you from afar and I'm rooting for you to win. Take care and peace.